Well, good evening. The Who's today were on at Randwick, and it was it was a good roll up, and not a lot of section there. Figures fairly poor as usual, very competitive, and well, there was one big plonk which we'll get to in a minute that was pulled off. Um, $15, 14 to 1 into 9 to 2, $15 into $5.50. We'll get to that in a minute. Now, during the week, of course, we had the Newcastle Cup Carnival on, and just very quickly, well, on the first day, the track was given out dead. A dead four was upgraded after a few races. I think it was after it doesn't really matter. It was after race 5. It was upgraded to a good 3, the drying wind, and the rail was in the normal position. And the first race on the first day, we had a 900-metre race and a 3 to 1 on chance go round, which sat 4 wide with wind cover, but was very disappointing for 3's on chance to finish up running 4th. First starter from Gerald Reinkamp, and the winner of this race was another runner having his first start, Drew Barrier 1, and it was able to kick through and lead on the fence, holding a couple of others out wide on its outside, and it was on the 2 days the only leader to win on the first day and in the first race, and maybe for the first 3 races at Newcastle on the first day, on the Wednesday, the wind was directly up the straight, and it was extremely strong. It was at least 50 kilometre an hour wind, and when they turned for home, it was very hard for horses to make up ground, because they were, when they did pull out, not only were the leaders running into it, but the runners that were pulling out easing off heels, they of course were running into it as well. Now, after about the 3rd race at Newcastle on the first day, the wind swung around slightly to say directly up the straight to a bit of a more nor'wester, and therefore when they turned for home, the leaders copped the brunt of the wind. And as the 2 days progressed, we saw, especially in the sprint races, that those runners that were back in the field with wind cover and coming wide in the straight most certainly had an advantage. So when you are doing the form for Newcastle for the 2 days, you will have to allow horses who were on the fence and especially near the lead being disadvantaged, and those that came off the pace and wide in the straight to have an advantage. The bias was in its favour, and the bias, I have to say, was the wind factor. The wind did die off on the first day to be from say 50 kilometre hours in the 50 kilometres an hour in the first race to only around about 25, half that strength by the time the last race came around. On the second day, the wind was in the same direction, straight out of the nor'west. It stayed in that direction all day, and the breeze was fairly strong. Might have eased off a little bit towards the end of the day, but it started off at around about a 35 kilometre wind on the second day, and might have eased maybe down to only 30 or maybe 25. And as I say, repeating myself, those that led and were on the fence were disadvantaged, especially in the straight. Now, we got to today at Randwick, and the track was given out a dead 5. The rail was in the normal position, and the track was, I think it might have been upgraded to a good 3 during the day, The rail, as I say, was in the normal position. Now the wind today, when the first race kicked off, we had a southwesterly wind blowing, and around about maybe after the fourth race, possibly after race 5, it had gradually started to swing around. And by the time the last race came around, the wind was out of the southwest. Now, it was what am I talking about? It was a southeasterly. So it went from a southwesterly to a southeasterly by the time race 8 came around. And we only had one leader win at Randwick today, if you want to call it a leader. I suppose it was. It led around the turn, and that was all was destruction in front of it down the south side. I don't think it was. When they turned for home in the fourth race, Angel B was leading maybe two and a half runners off the fence, and held that position all the way down the straight to hold off a horse that came, which was behind it. So there was only more or less the one leader, but there were a couple of winners, I think, that sat outside the lead and won. The first race here today, we saw the Avery get home, and that was Phantom Willie. Father Schofield, he did a lovely job kidding to it. Now, the first race today, they said there was a 100.6 on the screen only, and in the marketplace, we had about 5 less, only about 95 we kicked off in this first race. Phantom Willie, we took risks with it. We put it up the 5-2 favourite. Couldn't get it out to $4.60 quick enough, but it only started around about the $3.70 mark. Hard to get, Phantom Willie, and it sat third, directly behind the leaders on the fence. We all know the tactics that this horse can get up to, and of course Father Schofield kidded to it all the way, being held up, turning for home behind the 2 leaders, which were Hippopus and Gangster's Choice, and he was held up for a good while. And when he did get around their heels, he was able to not that he didn't go, come on, let's go full bore, but he was gentle with him, knowing that the horse can do all sorts of things wrong, and it was able to grab the lead near the line. The horse that was sitting on his outside finished up running second, Sainthood, when he got around the 2 leaders' heels. As I say, he was held up slightly, and it was extremely well backed. After we gave $4.60, starting only about $3.70. There were a few other runners back, but the captains got off on the wrong leg. The second race, here we saw the T-Rose for the 3-year-old fillies, with 6 runners go around, and Guelph, well, she showed her superiority here. On the screen in the for the robots, there are a lot of robots there apparently there today. They were planted everywhere. They come out of the woodwork. They only work when the big meetings come along. I don't know how the club allows them to do it, but there was 101 on the screen, 99% only in the marketplace, a couple less. And Guelph, we put it up to $2.10 favourite in front of Arabian Gold at around about $2.40. And it was, well, I'll tell you what the flux were. Guelph, $2.10 out to $2.50, back into $2.40, but started $2.50, Guelph. Bound for Earth, $8 out to $9, back into 8, but back out to 9. Arabian Gold, $2.40 out to $2.70, back into $2.40, starting favourite. Romantic Moon was always 30. Shahad, $19 or $20 given about Shahad, only started 18, and Vocalise was always $71. And Guelph was superior here. It got trapped 3 wide in the run, Romantic Moon. It wouldn't have mattered, although it stuck on fairly well. They only got beat 4.5 lengths. Guelph sat on outside the favourite, Arabian Gold. who got inside the leaders turning for home when the leader, Shahad, had got away from the fence, it having every chance Arabian goal. But when they got to around about the 200-metre mark, when Horseman Bowman gave Guelph a reminder, it showed a superiority, as I say, and she went away and won by 1.8 lengths. She had something on Arabian Gold, who everybody saw had trialled very well. Race 3, now this was the worst percentage wise for the captains all day. On the screen for the robots, they fared and they said, if you do this to us again, we'll call the frost god, and we will too, I'm telling you now. 96.3 on the screen, but in the marketplace where we were, now around about 94%. And who got the money here? It happened to be a horse called Barb, having its second start for the Peter Snowden camp, ridden by Horseman Bowman. He's suspended at the moment, Clever Karen, and Horseman Bowman was aboard, and this runner was back from $15 into $5.50, 14s to 9 to 2. It settled down second last on the fence and went in between runners turning for home, and leading in the race was I'm All the Talk, who didn't have a price. It went from $3.50 up to $6.50, back into $6. And it was able to, as I say, this winner Barb, weave in between runners and get victory near the line. And when I say this runner was back from $15 into $5.50, if you had up the $6.50, the 11 to 2, in the last couple of minutes or the last minute of betting, there was someone there to say, the pros, how much do you want at the $6.50? Now that's the proof in the real good plunge. It just wasn't wound off, but after the $15, the 14, the 13, the 12, the 11, the 10, the 9, the 9.50 before that, and the 15 to 2, and then the 7 to 1, and then the 13 to 2. Well, it's all over at 6. Now it's 11 to 2. We'll go away. We don't want any more. We can't pay. We can't pay. How much do you want at 11 to 2? And bookies had to make it a 9 to 2 chance, and it got the money, an old-fashioned plunge. Now the flux in this race, Var Pensiero, it went from $5.50 up to 7. I'm All the Talk, as I was saying, we put it up the 5 to 2 favourite. 5 to 2 the field, it got out to $6.50, 94% we gave. It was taken for a little bit of cash section at the finish. Started $6. Whittington, 6 out to $7.50 into $6.50 at one stage, but you couldn't give it away at $7.50 and $8 at the finish. Never Can Tell, they took $13 at one stage. Yes, it did start only $11. Dothraki at $9 out to 12. Diamond Oasis, it started the Avery. We put it up the second pick at $4.20, and it only started $3.50. It ran second. If the winner wouldn't have won, there was the favourite, the very well backed only other runner in the race to knock the captains out. So if they messed us with the right cross, they got us with the left hook, and it's only been beaten 0.2 of a length, but the winner was most probably a better run. And the next runner was Havana from opened up 16 to 1 chance, $17, got out to 26. It did miss the kick by good 2.5 lengths, 3 lengths, and it wasn't fully tested at the finish. Couldn't get a run. It was only beaten about 1.5 lengths. Wasn't a bad run, Havana. And as I say, the winner Barb, we put it up $13, a 12 to 1 chance, got out to 15, and only started the 9 to 2 chance. It was an absolute poleaxe garrot job for the captains. Help, can't pay. Now the next race came along, race 4, and the captains, we stuck our chest out here, and we got the cash. Now I'm talking about, as I say, the only leader I think that you could that won there all day, and that was Angel B, who, you know, as Mark Sheen said when they crossed the line, when Shelford ran second last start and Angel B ran third, I thought Angel B's run was better than Shelford's run that day at Warwick Farm. Angel B sat 3 wide on the limb all of the way, and there was Shelford was only a head in front of it, more or less on the turn, on the line. So and today, of course, well, Shelford was hard to lay. It was a $7 chance, and Angel B was a $17 chance. In this race, the captains we gave on the screen, the sweep now for the robots 105.3, just gave them that little bit of margin to work with. In the marketplace, about 4 less, about 101. And Angel B, as I say, we put it up a $15 chance. It was fairly firm in the market all the way. Got out to 17 and maybe $18 given, taken, but started 17. The favourite in this race went disgraceful. I'm talking about Field Marshal, and it was extremely well backed. We put it up to 10 to 9 chance. We got it out to $2.50, which you wouldn't see on the flux, $2.50, but only started around about the 2.05 mark, maybe $2.10, extremely hard to get. And it pulled up with a poor recovery rate. It was a little bit wideish on the track, but and slightly pulling on its rider, Nashville Miller, but it wide with cover, having every possible chance. When he was easing off heels, topping the rise, it was travelling fairly well. As soon as he went for it, there was nothing there, and as I say, it was a fairly poor run. Angel B was able to be in front, turning for home, and hold a margin down to the post to beat Maximilian, who was backed at one stage from 15 into 13, but got back out to $16 on my board when they jumped. It came along the fence, only beaten 0.8, and sitting 3 wide on the limb all of the way was Shelford, up near the lead, and it was only beaten 1.3, and running on from well back in the field, windswept down the outside, beaten 1.4 lengths, and they got away from the others. The winner was a good little strong win, and I suppose if you took into consideration its run at Warwick Farm, you could have easily had something on it. In race 5, we got to the George Main Stakes, and in the marketplace, we only got 101 on the screen, 104.8, and this was won by Streamer, $9 given, which you wouldn't see, but started $8.50. These were the flux in the George Main. Shootout went from $8 out to 12, back into 11, back into about $9.50. Sincero, 20 out to 40. Veyron, $13 out to 21. Faulkner, 12 out to 15. Sacred Falls, 7 out to $9.50. Hawkspur, I think the return to 420. You could get 480 on the fence when they jumped. It opened up the 5 to 2 chance, and 5 to 2 the field favourite, and got out to well, $5 was given, which you wouldn't see on the fluck. It came into $4.40 at one stage, but got to start $4.80, shorter the official SP, of course. Streamer, $9 given, started $8.50 after opening up 8. Royal Descent started $5.50 on my board, and others opened up $5, was into $4.80 at one stage, but got to $5.50. And the very well backed, the 3-year-old Dissident, who had the hard run at Rose Hill last start, it was $5.50 into about $4.40, extremely well backed. Well, they took $4.40 off me to win 3,000. Just as they jumped, they took the $4.40 off me to win 3, and it started $4.20. And the 3-year-old, it had every chance, and never got beaten that far. only a couple of lengths. But Streamer sat on the outside of Veyron, who finished up running in third position, and coming from midfield from fifth from fifth position, running second was Royal Descent, and the margin was only 0.2 of a length, and Veyron held on for third, beaten 1.5 lengths. They queried the pumper about his ride on Hawkesbury. He said he wanted to be closer, but the horse raced a lot more dour today, and he settled down in last position. He did make up plenty of ground down the outside, ran into fourth hole, beaten 2.1. They more or less all had their chance, and the winner stuck on well. We got to race 6. There was 101.3 only on the screen for the robots. Neat 100, we played Swai with the Grumble and Grunters, less the Toyota Lexus. And who won this race was won by the Avery Bobbin. It didn't win, it absolutely trotted in. Ridden by Father Schofield's aboard. I thought it was him. Sitting up there nice and high in his South African action, and he gave it a good ride. It went straight to the lead, Asher Khan, and off the fence more or less after it crossed Title, who led early. Tagus was sitting in third hole, and then we had a runner trapped out wide, Malavio. While all this was happening, from barrier 1, Bobbin was just trucking up nicely behind them. He got a bit of a middle split after they topped the rise, and it won very well. He gave it a good dig in the ribs and went away and won by 3.8 lengths, eased down towards the line. The second pick in the race was Sizzling, missed a kick slightly, and reading the steward's report, I don't know what to make of it. It sounds like the trainer, Kelso Woods, was saying that it was sore before the race. But anyway, whether it's pulled up sore or sore before the race, I don't know what the story was there, but it was extremely well backed towards the finish of betting only. We put it up the 15 to 8 second pick, $2.90, Sizzling, and it got out to $4.40, but it was $4 hard to get towards the end of betting. And as I say, it settled down in more or less second last position, was eased off heels, turning for home, coming widest in the straight, and it ran into and finished up running fifth. Oh no, dead heated for fourth. That's right, a dead heated for fourth, but beaten 4.5 lengths. But apparently the 4-year-old Gelding pulled up sore, or was sore before the race. I'll have to check that one out. The favourite, we put it up the 13 to 8 chance. 13 to 8 the field, we said. It got out to plenty of $2.80 given, and started around about that price, $2.80, but won like an odds-on chance, even though it did have a good run. Race 7, losing figures on the screen. Oh my God, 99.9, just a little bit under that 100 for the robots, and maybe 1 or 2 less in the marketplace, around about 97 or 98. And who got the cash here? Oh, it happened to be the Avery, Moriarty. Glencadam Gold went out and led and ran along at a nice solid pace all the way, with Darcy Be Good on its outside, and it sat back in third last position or fourth last position. The winner, Moriarty, who was sensationally back towards the end of betting, and it was able to ease off their heels, turning for home with Nash aboard, balanced the 5-year-old up, and he flattened out really well towards the end of the race to beat the leader, Glencadam Gold, by 1 length, who stuck on very well and was a much improved run from its first up performance. And we had, of course, this runner from Melbourne, Masked Marvel, running third. Now it settled down in more or less last position with Kingdoms. It was on the inside of Kingdoms, and when they turned for home, ridden by Nick Hall, it was tailing the winner up, Moriarty, and after they topped the rise, they got to about the 250 metre mark. The rider said, well, for a start, when they turned for home, it got on its Melbourne leg, which didn't help, and from about the 250 metre mark, he hung fairly badly, and he was only beaten 1.2 lengths. So, of course, you know, we'll get our measuring sticks out, and we'll all say, yes, if he would have gone straight, would he have won the race? It's a possibility he might have. Well, I'll have to have a close look at that tomorrow and see how I can price them, and you can have your thoughts. But as I say, it did hang badly in the straight and only was beaten 1.2 lengths. So its run was fairly good. It was eased off heels and a little bit 3 wide, half carting down the side, sneak a peek, and it plugged into, well, held on fairly well, only beaten about 1 3/4 lengths running fourth. It was very disappointing in the race. The stablemate to the winner, Bayer, it sat in third position behind Glencadam Gold, and it dropped out and ran second last, beaten 5.2 lengths. That's about all you'd say there. And then we came along to the last race, and we saw the Avery get home here sessions, ridden by jovial Josh Parr, who gave it a beautiful ride. He never went around a runner after turning for home. Well, he was in behind the pace coming to the turn. At one stage, he threw his head up in the air and didn't lose any ground. But when they turned for home, the pace, it wasn't breakneck pace, but they ran along. It went out fairly hard from an outside alley, Hidden Warrior, and looking at it was Tiger Tease and also Decision Time for an inside alley. Old Haylist, he was trapped 4 wide in the race, outside Welcome Gold, and in behind, or inside those and in behind, looking at the leaders, fairly close, not really close to the fence, off the fence, but behind the leaders was the winner, Sessions. And when they turned for home, jovial Josh Parr, there was, when you see the head on, there was a mile of room, and he was able to get inside Decision Time. While this was all happening, sitting at about 5th last position, off the track, but with more cover and coming fairly quickly and wide, turning for home, were the second and third horses. The third horse and the second horse extremely well backed. First, second and third in this race were by far the best back runners, running the trifecta. I'll tell you the flux in a minute. And I'm talking about Aeronautical and also Spirit of Boom. With the pumper up on Aeronautical, he looked across at the 200 metre mark after they topped the rise, and he said, "I'll just about get you, you leaders." Well, I've got you leaders. There's a good chance when he did take a peek to his right, he saw getting up inside the leaders the winner, and whether you can see it or not, I thought maybe with just 2, maybe 3 strides to go, the second horse, which finished up only was beaten a nose, Aeronautical, changed strides on the pumper, most probably saying, Jimmy, I've had enough. I'll try and keep on going, and it just changed strides close to the winning line, winning post, and maybe lost that little slight margin that turned out to be the winning factor. And the margins were 0.1 by 0.3 of a length. The favourite, as I say, winning the race from Aeronautical, and Spirit of Boom, who tailed it up from second last position, not far away. Now the flux in this race, how we got the 101. Haylis was $8.50 out to $10, back into 9, but back out to 10 at the finish. Mana Wanui was 26 into 19 at one stage, but back out to 26. Micmac was 40 all the way through betting. Decision Time went from $6 out to $8. Tiger Tease went from 7 out to 9, back into $8.50. Hidden Warrior was 40 out to 50, back into about 40. Spirit of Boom, very well back. A $12 chance it went up, 11 to 1, got out to as much as $15. It only started around about a $9 chance, fairly hard to get. 8 to 1 Spirit of Boom only. Famous Seamus, it was $11 into about $9.50. Aeronautical, also well backed, opened up 10, got out to $12, but only started around about the $8.50 mark, maybe 9. Delago Bolt was 26 out to 41. Now the favourite, we reached for it. All the captains, we were all dead and buried. They had us absolutely nailed to the fence, and it was $2.50. We got it out to as much as $3.40. Welcome Goal. I was like a fool. I was still $3.20 and laying it when they jumped. The roughie of the field Welcome Goal was $60 out to 151 bucks. Run the race again, and the favourite most certainly would be at least it's $3.20, if not a bit longer. That was about the meeting. We had a good roll up, as I say. They changed the ring about at Randwick once again. When they built that, they spent 150 million. 150 mil. I suppose it's not, well, Pooty, it's a drop. Here's to you, Pooty. Oh, it's beautiful, that. Old Pooty Blue. Well, he's got 150 bars in his fob pocket, but 150 bars it cost him to build the grandstand. When they built it, of course, the architects say, oh yes, we'll have a nice thing, round dome here, and the outlook here, and walk in here, and now that's what the building's going to like. Now you architects get inside here and design this. Now where are we going to have the giddy goat? Now we've got to have that's the priority. They've got to have the machine. Now we'll have one there, and we'll have one here, and one there, and that's it. Now the food, the bars, we're going to have plenty of bars. It's the pub, that's the club. Well, not races anymore, they're clubs. They're clubs. And yes, we'll have the club, the bar here and a bar there, and we've got to feed them. We've got a thing here, and we've got now the big TVs are up here, and some things there, and oh yes, and oh, everything's in order. The architect. Now everyone tick it off. Is that everything? Is that we need? Yeah, we know that's what we need. That's the sound. Everyone's ticked off and said that's right. Build it. They build it. First day. Now right. Everything. Oh, we got the. Oh wait. Did anyone say where we're going to put the captain cookies? No, I didn't know about who. What are bookies? What? Oh, well wait there. We'll put them up against. Where will we put them? Well, we pull down that other joint out the back way there. We'll put them along the glass. Oh wait there. That didn't work. Three members complained. They said, "Oh, we've got no room here. Can't swing a cat in this joint." Oh wait there. We'll put the captains. We'll put the captains here now. And oh wait there. There's a pole. There's poles here. We'll put them there in the pole, and then put these other ones here, and then put the interstate. Oh wait there. There's not enough room. Kick Mo Conlon off the rails. He's only been here for 80 years. Kick him off. Put him in the outside ring. Poor old Mo, he's out there with me. Yes, oh wait there now. Yeah, no, that's not no. The members are complaining again. There's not enough room. Move the bookies forward. Move them a bit forward, and put them right there. Now they're behind the poles there, and the other there. Wait, they can't see him. Now they forgot when they designed it. Where are the when they build when they build race clubs and everywhere, they used to say, oh, now where are we going to put the bookies? That was one of their priorities, but they forgot to do it this time. Maybe they think that the bookies won't be around for much longer. I don't know about that. Anyway, if I'm rambling on here a bit, if you had any, if you were, as Mo Condon would say, if you were wire netting, I hope you won. Good evening.